Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our first District 71 online candidate showcase. I'm John Cox, the District 71 Director, for only a few more days, sadly. I'm looking forward to an entertaining evening hearing from our District Officer candidates for 2020-21. Chairing the meeting is Moira Beaton, Division Director of Division S in Scotland, and her co-chair is Tom O'Keefe, Division Director of Division B in Ireland. So let's go and get started. I will hand over to our chair, Moira Beaton.
Thank you, John. Let's check that I am not muted. Okay. Thank you very much. Can we have the first candidate, please, Moira?
Okay, candidates, I'm now going to open the breakout rooms and you will all be put straight in. Okay, it would appear that all the candidates are now in the breakout room. Okay, Madam Chair, the candidates appear to be all in the breakout room, so we can start. Who's the first candidate?
First candidate is Gerard Mannix.
Hold on. Sorry, I have to get Sergeant Arms into the room. Sorry. Can't see you, Sarinka. Okay, we'll do it another way. Come on, Joe. Oh. Apologies for the wait, everybody. I think Ger seems to have got lost between the breakout. Here he is. Go ahead, Moira.
Hello, Gerard. How are you?
Good afternoon, Mara. I'm well, thank you.
Good.
Yourself?
You obviously can hear me. I'm well, thank you. You can hear me and you can see me.
I can indeed, yes. Yeah.
Have you pinned the timer?
I have, yes.
Good. Gerard, your allotted time today is 6 minutes to respond to questions and to make your closing statement. You may begin your closing statement at any time. You'll be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5 minutes. You should begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so at 5.5 minutes. And at 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. You ready to begin?
Thank you.
Gerard Mannix, candidate for District Director. Candidate for District Director, Gerard Mannix. First question, Gerard. What procedures should be implemented to ensure district leaders are conducting themselves according to our core values? What procedures should be implemented to ensure district leaders are conducting themselves according to our core values?
Well, our core values are integrity, respect, success, and I forget the last one. But anyway, how to observe that is by first actually, seeing how people are behaving within the community and within the meetings, etc. That they're fulfilling their roles and the objectives of each person's duty on the district leadership team. With regard to implementing it, I presume that one has to accept the variation of human nature with regard to where different people have different personalities, etc., and have different ways of going about it. If there is a situation where it becomes, needing correction or some direction with regard to it, that needs to be initiated. Next question, please.
When leading a team, what is your decision-making style? When leading a team, what is your decision-making style?
In leading a team, my decision-making would have taken place to a certain extent prior to that meeting, if possible. And I would have researched the material or the objectives of the meeting. And with regard to directing people, my style would be, I would not be vociferous like a Boris Johnson or anything like that, that I have that type of style of manner or whatever. It would be calm. I would really feel that leading, I would like to listen to what other people's views are, take them on board, discuss them with a team or discuss them with a pair or individual. Next question, please.
What will you do differently from past leaders? What will you do differently from past leaders?
Well, I'm afraid my feet are small. I hope I'm able to fit the shoes of my predecessors who have gone before me in the last few years that I've been a Toastmaster over 10 years. They've been admirable, the amount of work, and it isn't until I've in the DLT program, district leadership team, that really one realizes the amount of work that is to be done. I presume one thing that I did as a division director is that I managed to get around to all the clubs in my division. That I would feel is like maybe some little dream that could come true for me that I would be individual about. It is possible now with Zoom actually to make a visit to the 204 clubs that we have existing at the moment, where geographically and by transport, which would be impossible. Yeah. Next question.
Tell us about a time when you chose to do something that, although not best for you and your personal goals, met the needs of others. What made you decide to act in their best interest while sacrificing your own? Tell us about a time when you chose to do something that, although not best for you and your personal goals, met the needs of others. What made you decide to act in their best interests while sacrificing your own?
I was challenged with that maybe in late October, November. I was at a Division N contest representing the district leadership team. I returned from that and I had a mother and father of a flu, actually. I felt very, very unwell for maybe 2 weeks or so. And I felt that my capacity to, we'll say, look forward or come in with strength into the district directorship was a challenge for me. I parted for a while, did some thinking, and I then related it to my district team. And I just took some time to repair and get well. And really, my decision could have been made there and then, because prior about 10 years ago, I did health. And I just wanted to be careful for myself. But I was so happy to make that decision that I like to serve the Toastmaster members and support all the district team.
Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership? Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership?
That would go back right to my childhood, actually, where my grandfather was a great leader in the southwest of Ireland and in national Irish life. And I learned a lot from him because I was just by his side. I presume it was in later life that I decided that I would like to do some leadership. The most influential people, there's been many, and I think most of them have been just, we'll say, the member that influences, that needs some help in what direction that would need leadership. May I just finish up, please? Thank you very much for your questions, Madam Chair. And in the event of an election tomorrow, I just ask for your vote for Gerard Mannix as District Director. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you for your time, Gerard. Could we have the next candidate, Daniel Sanders, when you're ready, Moira, please? Hello, Daniel. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Thank you, Moira. Good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me and see me?
I can see you. I can hear you.
Have you pinned the timer? Please pin the timer.
Which screen? All right. Yes. You got one of you there and one of you there.
Daniel, your allotted time is 6 minutes to respond to questions and to make a closing statement. You may begin your closing statement at any time. You'll be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, please begin.
Daniel Sanders, candidate for Programme Quality Director. Candidate for Programme Quality Director, Daniel Sanders. First question. What innovative approaches will you bring to this role? What innovative approaches will you bring to this role?
The obvious cause for innovation is to help the district adapt to the COVID-19 that we are facing. And that takes the district online for officer training, at least for the foreseeable future. And I'm very fortunately placed in that I work at Cranfield University, and our university is similarly putting education and training online. So one of the innovations clearly is to exploit the synergies between my professional role and my Toastmasters role to ensure that we have a smooth transition to online officer training through June through to August. And it's going to be quite a challenge. Imagine hosting a Zoom master session where you're looking to do 12 division breakouts for district officer training, 7 breakouts when you're doing club officer training. So there are lots of challenges there, but I look forward to bringing that to the mix. Other areas where I've had a lot of thought about bringing in some innovative ideas, I'd like to support corporate clubs a lot more. And for them, they respond best to training if it can be in the midday before they go home and work and family commitments take over their lives. And we now obviously are in the online training world that they've coveted for so long. So this is an ideal opportunity to renew our relationship with our corporate clubs and to try to dovetail our training offer into their needs. And another area that I'd like to bring up is a bit of innovative thinking. And it's a bit of an embryonic idea at the moment, but many districts have a speakers bureau where we can readily identify the best speaking and training talent in the district. And that's great if we're going to do officer training. And in the future, that may be a platform for more external speeches, but we've not yet got to the point where we can go out into the real world. So I'll leave it there, Moira, and hand back to you.
Second question, Daniel. When working with a group of peers, describe your decision-making style. When working with a group of peers, describe your decision-making style.
I describe my decision-making style as very, very collegiate. I try to broaden out my teams to include most of the key stakeholders in any problem or project that I'm dealing with. This has benefits for me because it establishes a network of ideas and we get lots of buy-in to projects as they go through. Sometimes we get overlaps and underlaps. Some people can take a ride and are less accountable than others. But overall, the collegiate style that I adopt, opposed to divide and conquer and put people into silos, it encourages the next generation of leaders as they buy into the leadership process a lot more. And I can quite confidently look behind me and see quite a few upcoming leaders that have worked with me in the past and are still motivated to continue within leadership in Toastmasters as a whole. So that's how I answer that one.
Thank you. Tell us about a time when you encountered a problematic situation in your work. How did you manage this? Tell us about a time when you encountered a problematic situation in your work. How did you manage this?
Working as a research scientist and supporting government policy in near real time. For example, we're working on agricultural policy investigations for the Welsh government for Brexit. They want to understand how the Welsh economy is going to respond in real time as policy comes in from the United Kingdom government. And we've faced problems every day in dealing with that, in the sense that we can't get the data we need to respond to the Welsh government fast enough. We have problems with our own modelling that get shown up under stress. And the basic way to deal with that for us really is to keep calm and focus on the issues and not the people. Do our best and most pragmatic job with what we've got. And usually that gets us through to the deadlines, and we continue to retain the confidence of our customers and provide the solutions to their policy problems.
Okay, thank you. What can you and your district do to get more members excited about being part of the leadership process? What can you and your district do to get more members excited about being part of the leadership process?
Well, I'm on Amber, but I'll go for this one. The basic key to that is enthusiasm enthuses. You have to be passionately and demonstrably enthusiastic about leadership, to go for it, to love it, to enjoy it. I'm on red already. And that propagates outwards. And what I'd like to sum up with, I'll bring all of my experience in from my professional life to help Toastmasters, and I'll equip myself fully for the year ahead. And I hope we get back to being a distinguished district post-COVID. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for your time.
Do I stay in or go home?
You will be Zoomed somewhere.
Zoomed.
Yes.
Daniel, can you turn your video off, please? You may remain in the meeting.
Video off. Mic.
Good evening.
Hello. Our next candidate is Evelyn Canpani, Moira. Will should be in the breakout room.
Yes,
Thank you.
he will be in 2 seconds. Except I've suddenly lost him. Yeah. Okay, Evelyn.
Hello, Evelyn.
Hello, Moira.
Can you see me?
I can.
Can you please pin the timer?
Oh, hi, Dinah.
3 little dots at the top of your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Evelyn, your allotted time is 6 minutes to respond to questions and make a closing statement. You may begin your statement at any time. You'll be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5 minutes, and the red at 5.5 minutes. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, I am.
Evelyn Canpani, candidate for Club Growth Director. Candidate for Club Growth Director, Evelyn Canpani. How will you address low member clubs? How will you address low member clubs?
Madam Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, I will try to find out why low member clubs are low member clubs. Are their meetings enjoyable? Are their members having their needs met? And are there any other difficulties in the club? And I will address these problems for low member clubs. Low member clubs may need support from stronger clubs, because I noticed when I was looking on the dashboard that some members have under 12 members. Now you need 16 people present to run a program, to run a meeting with everybody having a different role. And that's the most satisfactory way to do it. So we can have visiting Toastmasters coming to low member clubs to help them out. Also, it gives an opportunity for people to help new clubs. And it's not mentor, the other word I can't remember right now. So they need help. And we have to provide coaching. That's it. They need a club coach.
Okay, thank you. When working with a group of peers, describe your decision-making style. When working with a group of peers, describe your decision-making style.
When I'm working with a group, I like to get everybody's point of view. And I like us to be able to discuss everybody's point of view and then to come up with what we think is the best idea. I don't particularly want not diverse opinions. Diverse opinions are fine, but we have to come to a mutual agreement about what the end result is going to be.
Okay. What will you do differently from past leaders? What will you do differently from past leaders?
Well, I suppose the main thing that I will do differently from past leaders is that I will do it my way rather than their way. Nothing wrong with their way, but it's just that we all have our own ways of doing things. And I may see things differently as other people see them. And I think at the moment that there is a great possibility for doing different things because we have just had a very good return from the semi-annual dues. We have about the same number of clubs as we had this time last year, and our churn isn't so bad really as things go. The thing that concerns me most is that what's going to happen in next October, because by next October, a period of time will have lapsed. Members will be wondering what's happening. Zoom may have lost its novelty advantage, and the members may be saying this is not the same as it used to be. So we have that much time to think what we can do to address that issue, which is going to come up, I think.
Thank you. Please provide a specific example of when you inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members. Please provide a specific example of when you inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members.
Well, I remember one time I was a member of a club and we had a group of new members that all came at the same time. And it appears to me very early on that speaking wasn't their primary interest, but they just liked coming to a club where they met nice people and they could sit around and do whatever. But as more of their friends joined, it seemed to overwhelm or dilute the true purpose of the Toastmasters Club. So what I suggested was, and I suggested we have a speechcraft course and invite people to come on the speechcraft course and do it within the club. Well, we did have a speechcraft course and it was very exciting and it gave the existing members a new focus for their Toastmaster skills that they had already learned. And we didn't get that many members. We got about 3 or 4 members out of it, but that's all we needed because we were able to energize our existing members and make the people that weren't interested in speaking think again about it and think, well, maybe this isn't the place for us, or maybe we should get interested in speaking. But one way or the other, it worked well.
Thank you. Who was the most influential member in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership? Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership?
Well, I think my most influential mentor is my husband because he's a very good speaker himself. He knows where I fall down and he has also supported me in seeking a role on the district council.
Would you like to go into your closing statement now?
Oh, I forgot. Yes. My closing statement is that I am proud to be a member of Toastmasters.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Evelyn, will you switch your video off, but you're welcome to remain in the meeting. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Brenda Lannon. If we could have Brenda in the room, please, Moira.
Yes.
Hello, Brenda. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Hello, Maura. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine, thank you. Could you please pin the timer?
Just bear with me for a second. Yes, I can see the timer.
Have you pinned the timer? Good. Brenda, your allotted time is 6 minutes to respond to questions and make a closing statement. You may begin your statement at any time. You'll be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5 minutes. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. Are you ready?
Yes.
Brenda Lannon, candidate for Club Growth Director. Candidate for Club Growth Director, Brenda Lannon. Brenda, how will you address low member clubs? How will you address low member clubs?
There are a couple of options, Maura, and one of these options is to appoint a club coach to clubs with fewer than 12 members in the club in order to bring them up to either 20 members or to achieve a net growth of 5 members. In relation to clubs that are close to the 20 member mark, I will work with them to encourage them and to assist them with membership growth initiatives. Next question, please.
Thank you. When working with a group of peers, describe your decision-making style. When working with a group of peers, describe your decision-making style.
I think my decision-making style would be quite collaborative in that I like to hear other people's viewpoints, which may be different to my own, to establish what the facts of a particular situation are and to consider different options and then to make the decision based on analysis, consideration and communication between the different members on the team. Next question, please, Maura.
What will you do differently from past leaders? What will you do differently from past leaders?
I have been very fortunate in my time, both as a division director and on the district team, to have worked with extremely good leaders. So I would like to continue the path and the lessons that I've learned from them. But in relation to the club growth director role, I would like to focus on certain areas in order to establish new clubs. One of these would be to approach business parks and companies within business parks to encourage them to form a corporate club in their organization. And I would share the benefits that I've gained through Toastmasters, but also that will be available to them as employers and leaders within their company. Next question, please, Maura.
Please provide a specific example of when you inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members. Please provide a specific example of when you inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members.
When I was division director in 2017-2018, I led a group of area directors, and there were 5 area directors in the division at the time. And I inspired them to work together to bring the division forward and to achieve the highest award, the President's Distinguished Award for that year. I provided direction and guidance and assistance to them in order to motivate them to help the clubs in that division. Next question, please, Maura.
Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking, excuse me, who was, oh, you beg your pardon? Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership? Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership?
I have been very fortunate that I've had a number of mentors over my time as a Toastmaster, 10 years of membership this year. And my first venture into district officer roles was as area director. And one of the members in my club, Fingal Toastmasters, Anne Gibson, helped me enormously in taking on the role of area director. And I've been fortunate enough to have had a number of mentors along my journey in taking up district officer roles, and also in taking up roles in the division or the district leadership team. Next question, please, Maura.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years in Toastmasters? Where do you see yourself in 5 years in Toastmasters?
Well, this Toastmasters year, I achieved my DTM, which was a very special occasion for me. May I move to my final statement, please, Maura?
Please.
I've worked for the members and to support the members in District 71 in my almost 2 years on the district leadership team. And I would like to continue that as Club Growth Director for 2020.
Thank you, Brenda. Our next candidate is Danny Banks. Could we have Danny in the room? Thank you. Can you unmute yourself, please, Danny?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me and see me?
I can hear you and see you, yes.
Please pin the timer.
Okay, I'll pin the timer. Hello, Dinah.
Your allotted time is 6 minutes to respond to questions and make your closing statement. You may begin your closing statement at any time. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5 minutes, and the red at 5.5 minutes. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. Are you ready?
I am ready, yes.
Danny Banks, candidate for Public Relations Manager. Candidate for Public Relations Manager, Danny Banks. First question, what is your strategy to promote Toastmasters to non-members that live in our district? What is your strategy to promote Toastmasters to non-members that live in our district?
Well, thank you, Moira. I have got two approaches, two parts to that question. Firstly, I would work with members. And secondly, it's getting the message out to a wider audience. So to work with members, I think our members are the best asset we've got in public relations. And I would see my strategy as being working with members, working with clubs to get the message out, for them to find out where their guests are coming from and to do more work in those areas. So from research that we've done in Division E, 67% of people find out about us by word of mouth. So it's how do we energize our members to go out there and talk about us and be our ambassadors. So that would be the first one internally. Secondly, I would look nationally. So obviously we've got national and regional newspapers, we've got other sorts of media, and I've always believed when I ran a marketing committee at my local school, we always believed that you should fish where the fish are. And what I mean by that is find out where the guests are coming from, what media they're using, and focus on that. So if people are coming in on LinkedIn, then do more on that. And also these days, bloggers. Can we identify some bloggers who are blogging about public speaking and provide them with some content and material? So it's a two-pronged strategy. One, working with clubs and membership and energizing members to talk about us. And two, a national strategy of finding out what works in terms of blogging or papers or radio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The District Executive Committee truly works as a cohesive unit. How will you react to those whose opinions are different from your own? The District Executive Committee truly works as a cohesive unit. How will you react to those whose opinions are different than your own?
I'd like to give you an example. Last year, I was asked to sponsor a club in Warwick. At first, I was a little sceptical because Warwick is not such a big place, and it's quite, the geography of it is that it is quite close to Leamington Spa, and Leamington have a very good, strong Toastmaster club. So at first, I was a little bit sceptical about that. But I went and discussed it with the Toastmasters who wanted to start up that club. And we discussed it, and I did some research, and I was persuaded. My main worry was that we were going to have a club that was going to just be a few people meeting every week, dragging on for months and months and months. So anyway, as I say, I was sceptical, but I decided that I felt there was enough evidence that they'd given me that it would work. So I went ahead, I went and sponsored the club, and, you know, it's set up. We chartered in November, and it's a strong club. So what I would say from that is that I will work with a team. I am a team player, and I will listen to people. I will put in my views, but sometimes, you know, we have to listen to other people and other people's experience. I went along with that. So to work as a cohesive group, I think you have got to have that debate and that discussion. And then when the decision's been aired, then we go on, we make the decision, and we stick by the decision. So that's how I would deal with cohesion in the district leadership team, the district executive.
Okay. What will you do differently from past leaders? What will you do differently from past leaders?
Well, my focus in this PR role is, one, to work with clubs at their level, because to be honest with you, every club's different. Every club in England's different, in Ireland. we need to work with clubs to find out where their members are coming from and then do more of that. So if their members are coming from Facebook, then work with Facebook and do work with Facebook. If I would also look at blogging, because I think, you know, there's a lot of power, there's a lot of people out there who are blogging, and if we can get involved in that, then that will be a lot stronger, will make us a lot stronger, and will appeal to lots of different audiences. I firmly believe that we should be focusing. I think we try to do too much, and I think we could focus in more on what works and do more of that rather than trying to cover everything.
Okay. Thank you, Danny.
Danny, please close your video, and you're welcome to remain in the meeting.
Our next candidate is Julian Cereceda. Could we have Julian in the room, please, Moira? Hello, Julian.
Hello, Moira.
Can you hear me and see me?
Perfectly.
In the timer?
Yes. Already done.
Can you tell me if I'm pronouncing your name properly? Julian Cereceda?
The name perfectly, the surname could improve. Cereceda.
Cereceda.
Yes, much better.
Thank you. Julian, your allotted time is 6 minutes to respond to questions and make your closing statement. You may begin your closing statement at any time. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5 minutes, and the red at 5.5 minutes. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. Are you ready?
I am.
Julian Cereceda, candidate for Public Relations Manager. Candidate for Public Relations Manager, Julian Cereceda. What is your strategy to promote Toastmasters to non-members that live in our district? What is your strategy to promote Toastmasters to non-members that live in our district?
Moira, all this time I've been in Toastmasters, I felt that the organization is failing to an essential group. The people who can take and learn the most from Toastmasters. And that's the young generation. If we look at our current ways of promoting Toastmasters in District 71, we have a YouTube channel, which is brilliant. Last week, we had an event that gathered 230 people. That's brilliant, but we could do better, much better. I believe that if we explore other social media channels, we are going to get a better response. But how do we do this? Engaging with the members. We should all be engaged in promoting Toastmasters. And how do we do this? Very easily, taking care of our members. If we don't take care of our members, if we don't ask what their needs are, they are not going to care about us. So that's my main goal, making sure that the VP of Public Relations are assisted at all times and can develop their own strategies for the clubs.
Thank you. The District Executive Committee truly works as a cohesive unit. How will you react to those whose opinions are different than your own? The District Executive Committee truly works as a cohesive unit. How will you react to those whose opinions are different than your own?
I believe in having different opinions. If we don't have different opinions, there is no progress. We will be making the same mistakes once and again. And that is one of the reasons why I'm standing for PR manager, because I believe that the message at the moment is monotonous. It goes always in the same direction. Me, with my completely different background to the rest of candidates, I think I bring different, a voice which can make other people reflect. And I'm not saying that I'm right, because probably most part of the times I am not, but I'm pretty sure that I can make other people see different point of view, and that will enrich the district leadership team.
Okay. What will you do differently than past leaders? What will you do differently than past leaders?
I have 19 ideas. However, I'm only gonna focus and I'm only gonna promise 3. First of all is promise that all the VP of Public Relations will be assisted at all times. And for that reason, I'm thinking of organizing once a month a Zoom meeting where we explain different ways to approach people, either different social channels or different marketing strategies. This, of course, is not going to be given by me. It's going to be given by experts, people who know, who work day in, day out in the marketing industry. I also believe that in order to retain members, we have to show appreciation, and we have to show what the excellence things we are doing at District 71. I would like also to promote our biggest marketing tool, that is the convention. It hurts a lot when last week I see that only 230 people are on the YouTube channel. That's brilliant, first time we do it, but where is the promotion? This is the opportunity to bring people and show that Toastmasters International has a really powerful product that can help and entertain at the same time. And finally, I would like to bring traveling toasties, because these times of traveling around the world have seen what other crews do right. And that's the best way to learn and import the best practices.
Thank you. Describe a successful team you have led. Describe a successful team you have led.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Describe a successful team you have led.
Well, a successful team I have met, I will say the people at Manchester Communicators. They start a club from scratch, all bringing their own ideas. And surprise, surprise, in 7 months, we got 45 members. 45 members. And it could have been better. But, you know, this virus going around struck.
Thank you. Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership? Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership?
There were so many people I could mention, and I think it would be unfair to mention some and leave others. It's been a journey of several years where everybody has had something to me. And all along this time, I learned a lot. I have seen good things and things that they don't work. And those things that don't work are what motivates me to get them.
Thank you, Julian. Our next candidate is Elizabeth Jordan. Could we have Elizabeth in the room, please, Moira? Hello, Elizabeth. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Can you hear me and see me?
I can hear you and I can see you.
Please pin the timer.
I
Three
can.
little dots at the top of your screen.
Okay. It says pin video. I think that means pin the timer. Yeah. I can't see you though, Moira. I can only see the timer.
Ah,
Also, I can see it's a small picture. That's okay. I've got the timer pinned.
your allotted time is 6 minutes to respond to questions and make a closing statement. You may begin your closing statement at any time. You'll be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5 minutes, and the red at 5.5 minutes. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. Are you ready?
I am ready, Moira.
Elizabeth Jordan, candidate for Public Relations Manager. Candidate for Public Relations Manager, Elizabeth Jordan. What is your strategy to promote Toastmasters to non-members that live in our district? What is your strategy to promote Toastmasters to non-members that live in our district?
My strategy will be to engage our VPPRs, who I think are a very underutilized resource, by training them, by helping them to understand the brand identity so they can go out and they can in turn attract members to the club. My strategy will also be to work with our alliance partners. I think working with Rotary is a fantastic opportunity, and I know this because we've already started working with them. Also schools, community organizations with our YLP and Speechcraft. I will also, of course, use communication, a wide range of communication channels to reach our different demographics. We've got people in rural areas, we've got people in cities, so we'll be using social media, broadcast media, and print media. Of course, all of this is to support the trio and the mission of growing clubs, attracting members, and helping clubs to be excellent.
The District Executive Committee is truly works as a cohesive unit. How will you react to those whose opinions are different than your own? The District Executive Committee truly works as a cohesive unit. How will you react to those whose opinions are different than your own?
I work in the corporate world. I've also worked in community organizations and so on. And I absolutely think that opinions different from my own are essential, because diversity of opinion, I believe, can lead to a greater thinking. If you have everyone thinking the same, doing the same things, is groupthink, and it needn't necessarily give you the best result. However, what is fundamental is that if we disagree, we stick to core values of respect, of integrity, of service, and of excellence. We bring evidence of what we think is wrong. We discuss it. We listen. The important thing is to listen. We seek consensus. And I believe, as people who believe that Toastmasters is greater than we are, as the organization we're working for, we are able to problem solve and put that behind us. So to me, I welcome it. I believe we've got the skills to solve it and to move on.
Okay. What will you do differently than past leaders? What will you do differently than past leaders?
I believe I stand on the shoulder of my predecessors and I look over. And the reason I think I'll do things very differently is because COVID has given us a new normal. One of the things I would do totally differently is I would make communications more agile. COVID has shown us that we had to change very, very quickly. So communication also has to change. So for instance, I would do more video messages, use podcasts, use WhatsApp emails and so on to get messages from the trio to members. I would also, so that's one thing I would do. I would also, I think there's something with the VPPRs. This is an underutilized resource. I really feel strongly about mobilizing them, training them about the brand value and getting those VPPRs going out into the community and bringing members in. One of the biggest things I would love to do differently is to work with all members and get them thinking. I'd love to do a survey on this, but to get them thinking, we are all responsible for promoting this wonderful organisation that is Toastmasters.
Thank you. Describe a successful team you have led. Describe a successful team you have led.
Lucky to have led successful teams in the corporate world, in the community, and in Toastmasters. I'm going to choose a Toastmaster example. When I was club president, the committee, I believe, was a very successful team. First of all, as soon as we got in, we were hit with a problem. We had to move, but we ended the year presidents distinguished, and we had a very happy team, high numbers. And I would say the team worked together because we listened, I delegated, we had a clear, we had smart goals that we could all work to. We met frequently, and that's why that worked well. I would like to do my closing statement, if I may.
Please.
Connect, collaborate, and communicate. Those are the three approaches. If you vote for me as your district PM, that I will use to support the district trio and the district mission in bringing new members to the club, in building creating new clubs, and also helping existing clubs excel. I will connect by going out to people like Rotary. I will collaborate with VPPRs, and the communication I will make agile. Vote for me, Elizabeth Jordan.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, please turn your video off, but you may stay in the meeting.
Hello, Nikita. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Right, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can, thank you.
Can you see me?
I can.
Can you please pin the timer?
I can, thank you.
Your allotted time is 6 minutes to respond to questions and make your closing statement. You may begin your closing statement at any time. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5 minutes, and the red at 5.5 minutes. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. Are you ready?
I am, yes.
Nikita Parks, candidate for Public Relations Manager. Candidate for Public Relations Manager, Nikita Parks. What is your strategy to promote Toastmasters to non-members that live in our district? What is your strategy to promote Toastmasters to non-members that live in our district?
I genuinely believe that as an organisation, we need to work in a bottom-up manner. And I shall frame that a little more carefully. Initially, one of the key things that we have to do as Toastmasters is get our point across. And that's more important for public relations probably than any other role. Something that I've learned is that I need to make sure that there's no elephant in the room. I'm transgender, and unless I get that elephant out on the table, people will look at me trying to figure out what's not quite usual here. But now that's aside, people would pay attention to what I have to say that much better. Top-down PR doesn't really work when we're a dispersed organisation, and the goal is to recruit members into clubs. So I think we need to do a combination of top-down and bottom-up. I think in clubs, in club committees, more than any other role, people don't fully understand what it means to be Vice President of Public Relations. For many of the roles, it's fairly self-explanatory, but for VPPR, it isn't. And therefore, I think if we don't hit the ground running at the beginning of July, then there's an upskilling effort involved. So as District Public Relations Manager, my key goal would be to make sure that we listen very carefully to the unmet needs of our club VPPRs and actually provide them with the skills and the tool set they need to be successful. And therefore, our organisation, which grows from the bottom upwards, will continue to do so.
Yep. The District Executive Committee truly works as a cohesive unit. How will you react to those whose opinions are different than your own? The District Executive Committee truly works as a cohesive unit. How will you react to those whose opinions are different than your own?
I really enjoy working with others, and I've always been a team player. At Toastmasters, in Pathways, we're encouraged to look at our leadership style and, in fact, to see what other leadership styles we can adopt as and when needed to be as effective as we possibly can be. My natural leadership style is the democratic leadership style, which is all about building consensus. I don't believe that I have necessarily the best ideas or a monopoly on good ideas, and I'm always keen to hear what everyone has to say and actually work to achieve a consensus. I found that works best in clubs. It's worked very effectively as a division director this year with my team of area directors, and I'm convinced that this is the effective way to embrace different opinions and actually achieve the best outcomes.
Thank you. What will you do differently than past leaders? What will you do differently than past leaders?
I think, being very new to District 71, I don't actually have a great deal of understanding about what our past leaders here have done. However, I don't think it's necessary to judge past leaders or to emulate them particularly, because it's a matter of living in the present moment. Our situations are changeable. The conditions that we find ourselves in now with the global pandemic were unanticipated, and I think it would be wrong to continue doing things in the way that other leaders have done. We have to be creative, find an exciting new way forward to be able to overcome the problems of the present and to be able to anticipate what we should be doing in the future.
Thank you. Describe a successful team you have led. Describe a successful team you have led.
A very successful team I've led in the last couple of months is the team I put together for my division conference. It had to be organised at speed, and the members all needed to know exactly what they were doing. However, I still found time to bring in rising stars and offer them keynote speeches to be able to raise their profile within the division.
Thank you. Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership? Who was the most influential mentor in your journey to seeking a position in the district leadership?
It is Helena Bowden-Brewer, who is currently the Club Growth Director in District 91. She was my division director when I was an area director, and undoubtedly has given me the will to progress my leadership journey.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikita. Can you please switch off your video? Thank you. Well, that ends the first half of our candidates showcase. We now have a break for 10 minutes where you can go and grab a cup of tea or have a comfort break. And when we come back after the interval, my co-chair, Tom O'Keefe, will be interviewing candidates for division directors. So see you in 10 minutes.
Mari, we have a 10-minute break now, so you can hide yourself for the moment if you wish and come back in 10 minutes with a cup of coffee and whatever. We'll see you then.
I'll be interviewing at least 13 people, that are candidates for the different division director roles. And each candidate, I will only be highlighting their first choice of division, even though some of them are standing for more than one division. So our first candidate tonight is Mary Manning. Mary, can you see and hear me?
I can, yes. Can you hear me? Obviously, you can see me all right, yeah.
And can you confirm I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, Mary, that's right.
Now, can you also confirm that you've pinned the timer?
Yeah,
right?
she's there. Yeah, I can see her there.
Thank you. Mary, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, you will be muted. Now, I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Mary Manning, who is the candidate for Division A Director. So it's Division A Director, Mary Canning. Mary Canning. Mary, your first question, please. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Chair. When I looked at that actually on the list of questions that was sent out, it was something that would be similar to what I would encounter in a work environment. And you just can't manage what you can't measure. So I think it's important that there is some sort of accountability and metrics around to measure the role as such and performance within the role as such. So offhand, I know there are some metrics to some degree built into the processes, but what I would like to see actually would be some, I suppose really, if we had a group of area directors that would get together and come up with collaboratively with some sort of robust process that could be used and that would go on after us such really. But I think that it's when people actually expect this type of thing, especially younger people that are coming in to the Toastmasters and that, and if they want to go forward for leadership positions, they will expect that to be in place. So we should really, I suppose, get with the times and get in a good, robust system. So other than that, I couldn't really say what sort of system. I'm familiar with several types of business systems, but that would be something that could be discussed between a group of people.
Okay, thank you.
Next question.
Your second question. Describe a successful team that you led. I repeat, describe a successful team you led.
Thank you for that. I will use a work, is that okay? Work, yeah. So what I would actually put is that I am currently regional chair of CIPD. That's a global organisation, and I have a team of 10 people on that. Now, I've been chair for 2 years, and I'm relinquishing that quite shortly because my time is up. But in our first year, I increased, with the help of my team, we increased the member engagement by 64%. Now that actually sounds like crazy figures to some people, but I can back it up, and it was shown to our AGM last year. They were all surprised as well, but it was just the fact that we got together. I work collaboratively. Sorry, I'm messing that word up. But anyway, that's my style as such. I don't like to sort of run off with a decision. I like everyone to get involved because everyone has an opinion and someone's opinion could be better than mine. So listen to everyone's opinion. And then what we did was we just basically planned a lot of really good events. We did a survey initially. We planned the events based on that and we delivered them. They were quite high profile events. There were HR professionals involved in those. And at that point, then really, I suppose members started to come back because they were getting what they wanted, and the membership fees are quite considerable. So you really do need to be cognizant that you're giving people what they want and to get them to come back. And I think that's something that Toastmasters could be. I could be looking at that as well for Toastmasters, because CIPD is not unlike Toastmasters as such. There are quite a lot of crossovers on that, and things that I would have used in CIPD, I would use in this role as division director. But we were quite successful actually with that. And as I say, the team are very cohesive, and I am a good relationship builder anyway, as I say. So I suppose really there's not much more I can say about that, except that we just got in there and did the job.
Great. Okay, thank you. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve these? I'll repeat. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve these?
So I would be, I suppose, the vision there from the district leadership team. The vision is there, and it's the the district leadership team, and then as division director, I suppose I would be leading and supporting the ADs through to support the clubs and the members, because at the end of the day, it's all about the members, and no members, no clubs, no revenue. So you really have to find out what the members want and basically give it to them in as much as you can. Encourage learning, quality meetings, purposeful meetings as such really, so that people feel they're learning something and that they're progressing. Pathways in particular is a terrific product, I believe, and I think it's totally underused in the corporate end of things. It's something we need to get doing there. So I've got my red. Can I just say that I would, a simple message, I would be delighted if you would consider voting for me as Area Director for Division A. And I bring quite a lot of skills to the table, and I'm so happy to use them to make Toastmasters better for all members and basically for everybody that's involved. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary. I think your allotted time is now up. Thank you very much. And we can have the next candidate, please. The next candidate is Paul O'Mahony.
I'm still here.
You can turn off your camera. You should be muted by now. Okay. Hello, Paul O'Mahony. Can you hear me, please?
He's still in the breakout room. No, he's coming in now.
Okay. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Can you see and hear me?
Tom O'Keefe, I can see and hear you well.
Very good.
And can you see and hear? Well, obviously you can see and hear me. Yeah.
You're fine, no problem. Can you confirm you have penned the timer?
Well, if I had, I would confirm it. Just let me.
Three little buttons on the top right of your screen.
Yeah, I will have pinned the timer. I'm looking at the timer has the word agenda on her.
That's her. That's her.
Verb. I have now. Hello, timer. I have pinned the timer.
Great stuff. Are you ready to go?
Absolutely. When you're ready.
Right. Now, just to let you know, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You'll be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, you will be muted, and I will repeat each question twice. Are you ready to start?
Oh, I am. Yes, I am.
Great stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Paul O'Mahony. He's Division A candidate. Paul O'Mahony. Paul, your first question. Perhaps the division director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat that. Perhaps the division director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
The first thing I would recommend is the number of times that the division director meets collectively with the area directors. I don't know how it's possible to handle my second metric, but I do think the frequency with which the division director has communication with the individual area directors in a supportive role is also a metric I would like to think about. The amount of coaching that the division director provides to the area directors, this is not something that in my experience is practiced, but I would also include that. In other words, I'm really seeing the division director as having a particular responsibility in relation to the area directors, because if nobody has that responsibility, there's big risks, I think, of things going wrong.
Okay, thank you. Your second question, Paul. Describe a successful team that you have led. I'll repeat. Describe a successful team that you have led.
Tom, I've led many successful teams. I'll tell you the biggest one during which I learned was outside Toastmasters. And it was when I had the job of recruiting the team, and our job was to deliver as part of the cultural transformation of the bus part of London Transport. I had a team of people whose job it was to deliver workshops to 19,500 people. The whole of the organization, bus drivers, engineers, supervisors, middle managers, board of directors. And this went on for over a year. And my job then was, in addition to recruiting, training the people to play the roles. They were all on secondment from other jobs. They had to be trained. They had to be trusted eventually to go out into situations that many of them had never handled before and deal with an incredible diversity of employees. We did brilliantly. We, I believe, affected a cultural transformation in the bus part of London Transport during the time when it was changing from a quasi-militaristic organization to a customer service organization. That's the thing I'm most proud of doing in terms of its size and complexity.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these? I'll repeat. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve them?
The division director is an important leadership role, and it goes in both directions. The role is to support and help through area directors and through a team of area directors. And I believe working with a team that the area director would essentially recruit to be the support team at the division level. But to this whole team, led in effect by the division director, their job is to serve the clubs and serve the members. But it's more than that. It also is to grow the membership, help the organization to grow, help the number of clubs to expand. And that's one side. The other side of it is the role of the division director in relation to, well, let's call him the DLT. And that's strategic. Okay, it's a channel of communications, it's strategic in the sense that the district leadership team has to think strategically about the health of the whole region, looking at it not just in terms of the individual year's metrics. There needs to be a continuity of purpose and planning. Otherwise, no vision will be carried through the entire district. So, and I also think that there might well be times when a division director might, under the guidance of the DLT, be absolutely the right person to connect with the regional advisor. I think that's all I will say about that question.
Okay, do you want a full question or do you want to make your closing statement?
Oh, I'll make my closing statement, please.
Go ahead.
In 30 seconds, I want to connect with what John Cox did last year. He took the word excellence through the district in a very determined way, because every time he opened his mouth, he spoke about excellence. I want to take the word growth.
Okay, John, sorry, your allotted time is up. Thank you very much. Could you turn off your camera, if you could, please? And we await the next candidate, which is Sean Dewan. So we're still waiting for Sean Dewan. Ah, there he is. Hi, Sean. Can you see and hear me? And can you unmute your microphone? Unmute.
Unmute. Let's see where unmute is.
Yeah, you're unmuted. I can hear you. Can you see and hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, and
you can see a timer.
Okay, can you confirm you have pinned the timer?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, Sean, just to let you know, your allotted time in total is 6 minutes. You will be
right.
the green card at 4.5, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5.
Okay.
You your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted, and I will repeat each question twice. Are you ready to start?
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Sean Dewan. He's the Division B Director candidate. Division B Director candidate, Sean Dewan. Sean, your first question. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
The first thing I'd say is don't be afraid of responsibility. And years ago, I would have been afraid of responsibility. And what I would like to do is to entice everybody to be a leader of some sort or another, whether that's Sergeant at Arms, VPE, President of a club, Area Director, and every single role in a club. Now, one thing I always insist on, because I'm in a club called Rossgray, and what I see quite a lot is that when guests come, their phone numbers are not taken. And I know an awful lot of people, particularly the younger people, are very much in favor of Facebook and LinkedIn, which is great, sending texts. But there's nothing like a phone call to a guest. And perhaps even, and I have done this several times, is to suggest meeting them for a cup of coffee. And There's obviously time factor involved there, but if you're enthusiastic enough about something, you'll find time to do it. I would also suggest a WhatsApp group for the 12 division directors. I think there's 12, there are 12, I think, yeah. So a WhatsApp group so that we can relate, collate, and work on information and experience that we have attained over the years. I'm in Toastmasters for about 20 years now, so I know the pitfalls associated with a lot of this stuff and the lack of communication. Although, funnily enough, Toastmasters is a communication.
Yeah. Okay, Sean, thank you.
It's a communication device where people can practice communication and, of course, leadership.
Okay.
Next question, Tom.
Okay, Sean, thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you led. I'll repeat. Describe a successful team you led.
Well, I think it was 2006. This is applicable to Toastmasters, actually, rather than a work environment. But I initiated the setting up of a club, and it's Roscrea in the northern part of Tipperary. And I was area governor at the time. And a lot of people said to me, do not try and set up a club, because I suggested, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set up a club in Roscrea. And they said, why? I said, I'm going to do it because it was tried twice previously and failed. So there was a great incentive to go do something. And anyway, as an area governor, you're expected to go do something that's, well, pretty powerful or not unique, but something significant. And I remember going to Roscrea, and I used to take maybe half a day off work occasionally. And I got to Roscrea, and I went to the bakers, I went into the credit union, I went into the library, I went to the cop shop, I went to local shops in the area. Now, the thing to remember about Roscrea was Roscrea has a population of 4,000 people. And I often said to people in clubs, in different clubs, and in Roscrea in particular, and because I was also a member of the Nina Club, that's where I started. And I always said to people, look if there's 4,000 people in one particular place, surely you can get 20 people to join a Toastmasters club. Lo and behold, it was almost impossible, but possible. And we succeeded with the help of some people from Nina and a few people from the likes of super markets in Roscrea, people selling trucks, everybody I could get my hands on. I got them to join the club, and some of them left almost immediately afterwards. But the intention was, we're going to start a club no matter what.
Okay.
And that's what we did. We got 20 members, and we registered in the USA, I think it was in January 2007. And of course, I was the president of the club for that 6 months. And the club has gone terrific ever since. Now, the question you asked, that was the toughest job I ever did. And I have been involved with engineering companies where I was supplying engineering machinery to multinationals and SMEs. And I also worked in London in a similar capacity, and Dublin. But that was the toughest job I ever took on. So I do appreciate anybody that actually sets up a club, particularly in a small little town with 4,000 people. Next question, Tom.
You want another question, or do you want to make a closing statement?
I'll make a closing statement. And I suppose my mission statement would be along the lines of have respect for every single person, no matter who they are or what they are or where they come from. Educate them and enhance everybody, because everybody can be enhanced. Even the district director can probably be enhanced. So can the division directors, area directors, presidents, DPEs, whoever they are. And
okay, Sean, thank you very much. Your allotted time is now up. Thank you. And could you turn off your camera, please? And we await the next candidate.
Next candidate is...
And the next candidate is Marianne Benson.
Marianne Brennan. Marianne, please. Marina.
Sorry, I said that wrong. It's Marion Brennan, not Benson.
You're close.
Hello, Marion. Could you turn on your sound, please? And can you confirm that you can see and hear me?
I can, yes.
And I pronounce your name correctly. Sorry, I got it wrong there a second ago.
Marion Brennan.
Thank you, Marion. Okay, can you confirm that you have pinned the timer?
I'm just going to pin the timer now.
3 buttons on the top right.
Yeah.
Okay.
On her.
Yeah. You can
yes,
see the
I have pinned the timer now.
Great stuff. Marion, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow card at 5, and the red card at 5.5 minutes. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted, and I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
I'm ready, thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Marion Brennan, Division C candidate. Division C Director candidate, Marion Brennan. Marion, your first question. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat that. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Well, for me, any role I know that I'm going to take on, I will always be looking to see where I can do more and make changes. For me, I think to give as much help as you possibly can to your 4 area directors. To me, it's to go a bit above and beyond that and to see where, always to be looking to see where challenges would lie. And the area directors are definitely, for me, would be people who would identify areas that could need help. And I feel that it all feeds up along the line then. So for me, I would be giving as much time as I possibly could to helping my area directors and then filtering down to the clubs. It goes up and down the scale, I believe.
Okay, Mary, thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you led. I repeat, describe a successful team you led.
Right.
In my working life, I was an education trainer in IBM for many years, and I led a team of 14 very highly qualified trainers for 8 years. Our training was recognized throughout the organization, and many of our trainers were taken at different times to visit different teams, different countries to help other teams. And I managed that team. So to me, that was a big success.
Okay, Mary, thank you. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these? I'll repeat. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these?
Well, my role and responsibility mainly is to support all clubs in achieving excellence, to carry out the division or the district mission's objectives, really. And by doing that, as I said actually previously, it has been on hand there to help people, to help my 4 area directors. I come from a club, Phoenix Tara, in Dunboyne, and we have been a very successful club over the years where we have achieved district recognition and President's Distinguished Clubs for many years. I've been a member there for nearly 9 years, and I feel myself over the various roles that I would have carried out there, I would have learned quite a lot. And I feel that experience that I am bringing with me from a successful club as Phoenix Tower is, and the knowledge that we have and the learning we've had and the amount of work we put in over the years, I feel that that now will play a big part in my role in helping others to achieve, to get to the same level.
Okay, Marion, thank you. I have a 4th question for you. What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role? What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role?
Well, I hope my leadership style, I don't know, I can't say, I know our last leader, Eileen, was excellent, but I have always felt myself, the democratic leadership style works. And in my personal life, I'm a life coach, and I would be very much in favor of having respect and listening to others, because I do feel that we all learn from one another. So it's having this open door policy where you listen to others, you learn from others, because we don't all know everything, but not be afraid then to put my own ideas forward in the end. So I feel that my leadership style, my skills from coaching, my listening skills, my mentoring skills will certainly help.
Okay. Marion, do you want a 5th question or do you want to go to your closing statement? Your choice.
I'll go to, I'll do a 5th question if you like. Yeah.
Okay. Can you provide a specific example of when you have inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members? I'll repeat. Can you provide a specific example of when you inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members?
During my role as president last year, I would have been an integral part of bringing in a mentoring team, a mentoring group, and I encouraged the whole way. I feel that to mentor our new members is an integral part of any club. And I definitely helped with that and motivate people to do that.
Okay, Marion, we're almost out of time. Do you want to make a statement? No, it's too much. Your time is out. Thank you for your input. And I will call the next candidate, please. And if you could turn off your camera, please, Marion. Our next candidate is Somish Kumar, and I need to get confirmation of the pronunciation of his first name when he comes on. Hello, can you turn on your microphone?
Hello.
How are you? Could you just confirm the pronouncement of your first name, Somish, because I'm not 100%.
Somish, yeah.
Oh, Somish, okay. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes.
Great.
Tom, yeah? Tom.
Yeah, that's me. Can you confirm that you have penned a timer?
Yeah, I can see timer, yeah.
You're happy enough with that? Thank you.
Should I pin, is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, just to make sure that you continue to see her. Your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted, and I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
So is it for each question? Is it all the questions, is it?
Each question I will ask twice while we have the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Somish Kumar, who's the Division D Director candidate. The Division D Director candidate is Somish Kumar. Somish, your first question is, perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position will you recommend? And I'll repeat that. Perhaps the division director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I would say that to consider division director as underutilized role is probably not correct. I think it is quite an important role because many area directors and many clubs are under the jurisdiction of the division director. So it's quite an important role to give in terms of the credibility for the role and in terms of creating some kind of accountability for the role. I think the most important thing is I think we already have the distinguished club goals. So and the distinguished area, distinguished division. So we have all those metrics already there. So it's just a matter of ensuring that we bring in that spirit of enthusiasm among all the area directors, presidents, so that they, first of all, people should know that these goals are existing. The distinguished club program, all these are existing. And then to ensure that people are enthusiastic to actually deliver on those goals. But it should, I think the most important thing is to have fun. I think it's very important. If we are having fun, then we'll get everything done. So it should not become a kind of serious thing that do or die kind of situation. It's not that what we are aiming at. It's just that we want people to have fun, and at the same time, everyone should feel that they are part of the Toastmasters community and contributing to Toastmasters and for their own individual development. That would be it, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you led. Describe a successful team you led.
It need not be within Toastmasters, or is it?
Whatever.
I can give both examples, maybe Toastmasters and in the company where I work, which is Ericsson in Athlone. So in terms of Toastmasters, when I was the president of the club, we did very well. We were select distinguished. We could have become presidents distinguished as well. There were a few things that did not work well at the time. So yeah, so that was a great team. I think we had a very good team, and everyone worked. I think the most important thing is for everyone to be feeling that they are part of this team. It's the feeling of trust between the members. I think it's very important. If we have the trust, and if everyone gels well together, I think and that happened. And in the project that I was leading, we had 30 people in the team, and few working. We had it outsourced as well. So some people were working outside Ireland as well, and we had a very good. Even though people were working outside, and I think now unfortunately we are in the situation where we have to kind of use Zoom and things like that. So even in there, because it was outsourced, we had those teams, and we all worked well together, and we delivered on time with quality. And yeah, so few examples are there. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve them? I'll repeat. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve them?
So in terms of role, I think the most important role is to work with the area directors and presidents, mainly area directors, because area directors will be working with the presidents in the respective areas to ensure that all the clubs are running well. They are retaining the members. They are getting new members. The meetings are running, and everyone is happy with being a member of Toastmasters. So that would be the role. So role is basically ensuring that the area, the clubs under the division that I am running, run well and they perform well.
Okay.
Thank you.
A fourth question. What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role? What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role?
So I was thinking about in software terminology, we have this agile way of working where we have sprints, which could be a 2-week or 3-week sprints. And then we have sprint planning, we have retrospectives. So things like that. So I kind of was thinking that we should, once we have the area directors, we could have very small goals for each 3 weeks, and then we retrospect, and then we try and understand how we did within the 3 weeks, or whatever the term. It could be 1 month, it need not be 3 weeks. So whatever short duration that's there, we try and have some small goals and see how we reach those goals, and then that will add up. Once we have those small goals adds up, and then it becomes the big goal that we are aiming for. So that's my answer.
Okay, thank you. I'm not too sure if we have time. No, we don't. So that's just you're now been your allotted time is now up. Thank you very much, and if you could turn off your camera, that would be great.
Tom, Nikita Parks is waiting for her division director interview.
Okay, I wasn't expecting her to be interviewed again, but if we want to do that, that's fine.
Okay, shall I bring her in now then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Moira and Tom, Nikita is not being interviewed a second time.
Oh, okay. That was not what I was what we'd agreed before, but that's fine. I'll tell her.
Thank you.
The next candidate I have is James Herford for Division E. Hello, is that James?
Hello, James Herford.
James, can you see me and hear me?
I can see you and hear you.
Great stuff. Can I check that I'm pronouncing your name correctly, James? Your second name, your surname. Herford?
Herford, yes.
Great stuff. Okay. My apologies if I got that wrong. Can you confirm that you've pinned the timer, please?
And the timer,
Yeah.
I've just pinned now. I've just pinned the video.
Great stuff. That's what we want. Right. Thank you. Right, James, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted, and I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
Yes, I am.
Great stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, James Herford, your Division E candidate is James Herford. James, your first question. Perhaps the division director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat that. Perhaps the division director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
I wouldn't. I don't think it needs to have accountability. Really, it's the clubs we should look after and the members. And the job of the district director is to support the area directors who are supporting the clubs. It's really the accountability of the clubs, which we already have, that's the important thing. Not so much the director. He's there to inspire, motivate, give advice, to help the area directors, who in turn help the clubs. I don't think we should take our focus off who's the priority, really. It's the club, it's the member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you led. I repeat, describe a successful team you led.
In Toastmasters or anywhere?
Whatever.
Well, I've led up to 40 people when I was creative director on British Airways. that was a big team. We were doing campaigns on advertising for a new corporate identity for British Airways. I think the creatives, I was on the creative side, creative director. There was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 creatives. And the rest were account handlers. And he had to run the whole team with presentations at Heathrow, where British Airways were based, every other week. And sometimes presentations in New York, Miami, and other places we had to fly out to. It was, as you can imagine, in advertising, it's quite pressurized. And you have to produce the goods. There's no coming back. You have to produce the goods, and you have to present them as well, and you have to sell them. Yeah. So that's one of the bigger team. I did that for 2 years.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve these? I repeat, describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve these?
I touched on it earlier, actually. The role of the division director is really to support and guide your area directors in the division, who in turn are supporting and guiding the clubs. So whatever they need, you're there as their sounding board, as their help. Obviously, you have 2 contests to organise. We know that. You're a figurehead, really, as well. Not at club meetings, but at contests. To achieve better clubs and start new clubs, make the clubs grow. All the values of Toastmasters: integrity, excellence, service, and respect. And you're there to help them in that role. You're not there to take the limelight. Again, that's what I said earlier. Really, the limelight should be the member, what they're doing, and the club.
Okay, thank you. Fourth question. What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role? I'll repeat. What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role?
Innovative new approaches.
Okay.
I think really the innovation really is the motivation, it's the leadership, it's the confidence. If you instill confidence in your area directors, they'll instill confidence in the clubs. That's what the role's about. It's a structure of Toastmasters, and the confidence and the leadership comes from the top. That's what I'll bring to Division E. They want to know there's somebody there that they can rely on, who can speak well and give them leadership, and they can trust. That's what I'll bring to the division.
Very good. Do you want the 5th question, or do you want to make a closing statement?
I'll have a 5th question.
5th question, fair enough.
Yeah.
Can you provide a specific example of when you have inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members? I'll repeat that. Please provide a specific example of when you have inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members.
Well, that's more recently as well. As president of Anglia Communicators this year, I inspired the members to make a great club. We went from 13 members to 31 members this year. From September, we're at 13. And
sorry, James, looks like you've run out of time. Your allotted time is up. Thank you very much. If you could turn off your camera, please. And our next candidate is Rob Partridge for Division F. Rob Partridge. Hi, Rob. Can you turn on your sound? Unmute yourself.
Good evening.
How are you, Rob? Can you see me and hear me?
I can.
Great stuff. And Can you confirm that you have pinned the timer?
I can confirm I have pinned the timer.
Thank you. Rob, just to let you know, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted, and I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
I am, thank you.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Rob Partridge, the Division F Director candidate. Rob Partridge. Rob, your first question. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? And I'll repeat that. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Thank you for the question. I think as a district, we have, thanks to Toastmasters International, we have access to a wide variety of metrics that we can actually monitor already, such as area reports. When you're asking area directors to go and do the visits to the clubs, you can see as a division director straight away if they've done them, whether they're halfway through. The DLT can monitor how effective that is. Are we getting in touch with our area directors and asking them to do these kind of roles? I would look at the names that are submitted for the club officer training. Have they been done all on time? And divisional contests, are they being run? Are they effective? Has every area submitted a candidate? A contestant? Have you submitted your results to the program quality director on time? So all those things are already available to us, and we could just expand on those and possibly add a few others.
Okay, Rob, thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you have led. Describe a successful team you have led.
Well, a few years ago, I was the chairperson for Galway Pride, and this was after we'd had a rather interesting year, which saw us remove a few people from the committee. And I took it on at a time when the community was very much divided, and everybody thankfully got behind us. And in the end, we went on to have one of the biggest and most successful Pride events in Galway's history. That would be one of them. I would say another time that I consider myself having led a successful team is with the chartering of the club that I now consider my home club. We started and chartered in 2017, and a lot of the committee is made up of new members who hadn't heard of Toastmasters until they first came along that night. And the club is now, we've had a lot of successes, and I would say that's another example.
Okay, Rob, thank you. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve these? I'll repeat that. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve these?
I would consider the role of division director to be one not just where you ask the area directors to do the things for you and to make sure they're being done, but you need to be a contact with the club as well. There are times when clubs might not be able to get hold of their area director for whatever reason, but also clubs might not know how to get hold of their area director. Now they should, but there's always the possibility that someone, a member within the club who's not on the committee, you could be the first person that they've seen or that they know, someone that they've got a connection with. So you need to be available and in contact with all of the members in your division, not just with the area directors. You need to make yourself out there so that people can come to you. You need to be approachable so that people can come and say, I would like to do this, or I want to have a go at that. And potentially so that you can find new area directors within the area and new division directors, people who you can help go up the ladder and act as an inspiration for them, like the people have for me before I stepped up to these roles.
Okay, Rob, thank you. Your fourth question, what innovative new approaches will you bring to this role? I repeat that. What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role?
I would like to see the use of social media increased a lot, especially now, given that a lot of clubs are meeting via this medium. People are realizing that actually technology isn't all that scary. So I'd like to see people use and embrace this a lot more and see clubs become hybrid clubs and offer both online and in-person meetings. I'd also like to see some form of contest committee brought together to help run all the contests in the area. There are some clubs that have no idea how to run an area contest, and they may have been asked for help by the area director. So it'd be nice for them to have someone that they can go to, a group who are experienced in running contests, and speak to them about that.
Okay, do you want to have a fifth question, or do you want to make a closing statement?
Let's go for a quick fifth question.
Okay. Can you provide a specific example of when you have inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members? Can you provide a specific example of when you inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members?
Two of the members of our club at Loughrea gave their icebreaker as a contest speech. Both of them are also now looking to be members of the committee. I would say that, to me, is evidence enough that I've inspired people to take on leadership roles and to help their members. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Rob. I think we're almost out of time. There's no point in giving me another question. But if you have any, you might have time for a closing. No, you don't. Okay, so you can turn your camera off if you could, please. And we'll go for our next candidate. And I believe our next candidate is John Alsop for Division H. John, can you put on your microphone, please? Good man. Hiya, John. Can you see me and hear me?
I can see you and hear you, Tom.
I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Alsop?
Yes.
That's how you pronounce it. So that's okay. I was checking just to make sure.
That doesn't count as one of my questions, does it?
No. This is before the clock starts. Can you confirm that you've pinned the timer?
I can see the timer.
Okay.
A second.
That you'll be able to see him at our CR.
Yeah, I've pinned the timer.
Okay, thank you. John, just to let you know, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, you will be muted. And okay. I will state each question twice. Are you ready to go?
Ready to go, Tom.
Ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, John Alsop, Division H Director Candidate. Division H Director Candidate, John Alsop. John, your first question. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat that. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Well, I'm a fervent believer that all leadership roles, whether it's in business or voluntary organizations, should have accountability. And particularly in voluntary organizations where service is the measure of performance. So I think, yes, there should be accountability, and the accountability can be delivered in one of two ways, either a formal measure of accountability or an informal measure of accountability. My preference would be to have a committee, a guidance committee, who support and monitor the district division officer, division director, to make sure that he's staying focused and in tune with the goals and objectives of the division.
Okay, thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you led. Describe a successful team you led.
Well, I can give two examples. One in work, from a working example. One of my roles was to move some manufacturing technology from the UK to France, which entailed bringing together a team from the two business units to work together to set the strategy, design the processes, and then deliver the results, which worked very effectively. So I brought the team together and delivered the results. In terms of Toastmasters, I've been a club president and I'm currently the area director. And in both those roles, the club and the area have achieved President's Distinguished. So I'm capable and able to bring teams together, encourage them to work together to reach the ultimate goal.
Okay, thank you. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these? Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these?
Okay, well, I believe that the three core tasks for this position are related to the objectives of the division. One is to provide the best possible support, guidance and training for the area directors and the club officers. That has got to be delivered by mentoring, guiding and in the formal club officer training. The second is to lead and to organise and lead the Division H contests and conference. I'm a firm believer that these events are the highlight of the Toastmaster year. And in order to deliver those effectively, you have to have clear teams with clear responsibilities who understand their roles and they understand the overall objectives. So that would be the second major task for me. The third responsibility of the division director is to work towards the district objectives of making sure all the clubs are sustainable and that new clubs are started and become strong in as quickly as possible. And that means working directly with members of the district executive committee, using the resources, challenging the resources and making sure it delivers for the membership, the both existing members, new members and the yet to be members.
Okay, John, thank you. Your fourth question. What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role? What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role?
I'm not sure they're going to be innovative new approaches, but I think there are certain best practices that are not used to the full potential. So, for example, if you look at the overall task of the division director, there are certain areas that need specialist focus, special resources. So I would be looking to appoint an assistant division director for program quality to make sure that all the clubs in the division are supported in terms of being able to deliver the best possible experience for our members' learning experience. I would also be looking to appoint an assistant division director for club growth, because again, membership, particularly in these times, is challenging for lots of clubs. And we need to have focus and resources that the clubs can call on and can be leveraged to make sure that the clubs remain sustainable and that new clubs, as they're started, the resources are directed to support them.
Okay, thank you. Do you want a fifth question or do you want to do your closing statement?
I'd like to do my closing statement if I can.
No problem.
Okay, so it doesn't matter our age, background, or reasons for joining. Ultimately, we all remain Toastmasters for our learning, enjoyment, and fellowship experiences. When people like you and I take up the leadership roles, we accept that it is our responsibility to ensure our members have the best possible experiences. I have the knowledge, the experience, and the ability to ensure that Division H provides the best environment for.
Okay, John, it looks like your allocated time is up. Thank you very much. And could you turn off your camera, please? Good stuff. And our next candidate is Vianette Hoffman-Jackson for Division H as well. Vianette, could you unmute yourself? Good stuff. Can you confirm you can see me and hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just spinning the timer.
That's great. Yeah, if you can just pin the timer, that'd be good.
Okay. Fantastic. Hit the timer.
Right, Vienna, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted, and I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
I am ready, Tom.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Vianette Hoffman-Jackson, who is the Division H Director Candidate. Division H Director Candidate, Vianette Hoffman-Jackson. Vianette, your first question. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat that. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Thank you very much for that question, Paul. I think the district, as it stands, has quite a lot of metrics in place in terms of assessment of the division director role and, of course, accountability and responsibility. You have your chairing of contests, training of your officers, and making sure all your club are doing well. For me, if I'm supposed to introduce one more metrics, I would probably go to the major stakeholder in the organization, which is our members. I would possibly introduce performance management or performance analysis during the course of my role as division director. It would be nice to get the feedback from the members because ultimately they are the ones that make the organization successful. So I would propose having that feedback from members at different key points throughout the year as a division director.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you have led. Describe a successful team you have led.
In 2002, when I accepted the role as a head of department in this country, I was in charge of a very diverse team. You might notice from my accent, and most of my teams were from all over the world. And I think the greatest challenge that I had was to get everyone to function as a cohesive team and actually move towards a common outcome and a common goal. And so what we did, first of all, was have open dialogue to make sure the vision was communicated clearly. Everyone understood exactly what was expected of them. And then we set up milestones to celebrate each success or each accomplishment and move together towards a final outcome. The result is we did improve our department by over 3% in our students' attainment. Lessons I've taken away from that is that it's so important at the start of any new role to communicate your vision very, very clearly. You must also back that up with timely communications to make sure people are on task. And if there are any problems during the course of getting to the end, then you can offer the necessary support before the problem escalates and cannot be controlled. Thanks, Tom.
Okay, thank you. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these? Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these?
I think, Paul, any question that I have dealing with Toastmasters ultimately goes back to the members. And one of the things is to make sure the membership experience is very, very positive because we all signed up to the Toastmasters promise. So one of the things I want to make sure as a division director is to make sure the meetings are enjoyable. And this happens through training of my area directors. Once area directors are aware of their roles and that is filtered down or cascaded down into the club level, then that naturally impacts the membership experience. The other bit is more strategic planning and organization, such as organizing competitions, organizing trainings. And these I have experience in my current role as STEM ambassador, where quite frequently I'm in charge of organizing conferences, liaising with a wide variety of people and bringing the conference to fruition. So those are my chief roles and responsibilities, in addition to the district mission, which is to build club to excellence and, of course, create club growth by creating new clubs, which we will work to do together. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, thank you. And your fourth question, what innovative new approaches will you bring to the role? What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role?
Tom, I must say COVID had actually beat me to that innovation that I would want to bring to Toastmaster. We all recognize that communication is actually moving in a different direction. And one of the direction it is moving is, of course, online or digital platform. COVID has actually thrust us into it without much preparation. And so one of the things I would want to focus on is to ensure that we have all the skills, not only at division level, but in each club, so that we can understand all the intricacies of Zoom to make sure our meetings are very enjoyable and make sure we're still fulfilling our mission as a club. The other thing, of course, would be to push pathways a little bit more, because we're going fully on June, and I want to make sure every member has actually started their pathway journey. Thank you, Tom.
I'll give you a fifth question. So can you provide a specific example of when you inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members? Can you provide a specific example of when you inspired a group of Toastmasters to take action to serve our members?
I think that has to be Pathways. I was a part of the Pathways ambassador team, and I think that was pushing Toastmasters out of their comfort zone. And by the result, in our division, I think we were one of the first division to embrace it. And the club that I was working with, we were the first to achieve all our DCP points from Pathways. So Paul, if I stop you there just to put my closing statements. So fellow Toastmasters, I cannot promise you that I am going to know all the answers or do everything right as a division director. What I can promise you is to connect with every single member, empathize with you, inspire you to excel, but make sure I model excellence and model expectations. And as Ralph Smedley said, we learn best in times of enjoyment, so make sure our meetings are enjoyable. Vote for me, Vinette Hoffman-Jackson, for your Division 8 Director, and I can guarantee to enthuse, empower, and make sure you enjoy.
Okay, thank you, Vinette. Your allotted time is up. If you could turn your camera off, please. And our next candidate is Michael May for Division J. Michael May. Hello, Michael. If you could unmute yourself, please.
Hi, Tom.
How are you? Can you see me and hear me?
I can, yeah.
Great stuff. And can you confirm you have pinned the timer?
I can see the timer, but I'll pin timer now.
Top right-hand side, 3 little buttons.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, good man. Okay, Michael, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow card at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, your sound will be muted. And I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Great stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Michael May, Division J Director Candidate. Division J Director Candidate, Michael May. Michael, your first question. Perhaps the division director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat that. Perhaps the division director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Well, first of all, it's obviously a volunteer role, so you are relying on people's good intentions and integrity to carry out the role to the best of their ability. So it's difficult to put a metrics in place to kind of quantify or to try and measure their performance. But I suppose what you can measure them by is the performance of their area directors, because ultimately they're there to support the area directors in their roles, and the area directors are trying to encourage the clubs to perform as best that they can in the Distinguished Club Programme. The Distinguished Club Programme, as we know, feeds into the goals of the areas, the divisions and the districts. So that's a metrics in itself that a division director can be measured by. But in advance of someone taking on the role, like a situation like this, you would be looking at the person's performance to date in Toastmasters, like how they performed as area director themselves. You'll be looking at how they performed in their various committee roles as well. So that can be used as a measure to see how good a candidate is for the role. And then you've got the Distinguished Club program there as a metrics to measure their performance on an ongoing basis.
Okay, Michael, thank you. Your second question: describe a successful team you led. Describe a successful team you have led.
I suppose in a Toastmaster context, it would probably be as a club coach in the Cogito club, because when I joined that club, it had a very low membership, less than 11 members, and we put a membership building program in together, and we got the membership into the mid-late 20s, and it's been quite a successful club. There has been a number of contest winners from both at area and division level from the club. So it's quite a successful club, and so that I went in as a club coach, and I feel that was a large degree of success there.
Okay, thank you. Your third question: describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve these? Describe your role and responsibilities for this position, and how will you achieve these?
The role of division director is obviously to support the area directors in carrying out their very important tasks of encouraging the clubs to set goals and try and achieve them. So that's the main function of the division director. Also, you're there to liaise between the district leadership team and the clubs in your division. Beyond that, then you take the lead in organising the club officer training and the division finals, and just all in general, you're a leadership position in the district and in the organisation itself.
Okay, thank you. Your fourth question: what innovative new approaches will you bring to this role? What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role?
Well, first of all, I've served under two excellent division directors in Seamus Hines and Evelyn Campani. If I can emulate their achievements, I would be quite happy, because I thought they were both very, very successful. And that's my starting point, is to try and emulate their performance. And what I would like to do, and I know our division directors in the past would have had the same mindset, is that we want to bring a bit of fun into the organisation. We don't want to make it too serious and too much like work. We want to bring fun into the organisation, and that's what I intend to do. I want to try and bring a bit of an innovative approach to try and create a bit of fun amongst the club, amongst the clubs in the division.
Okay, and do you want a fifth question, or do you want to make your closing statement?
I'll make a closing statement if that's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so my name is Michael May. I'm putting myself forward for Division Director in Division J. I'm currently serving as an area director in Area 7 in Division J. I'm looking to take on a strong leadership position in the organisation, because I've been in the organisation over 12 years. It has given me so much in that period of time, and I want an opportunity to offer something back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And we've run out of time, so thank you. Your time is up, and if you could turn off your video camera, that would be great. And we'll go to our next candidate, please, which is Philip O'Callaghan. Philip O'Callaghan, Division M. Hiya, Philip. Can you mute yourself?
Hi, Tom.
Good man. How are you? Good stuff.
Oh, wonderful.
Right. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Right. Can you confirm you have pinned the timer? Top right-hand side, 3 buttons.
I have confirmed. I have pinned the timer.
Good stuff. Good. Philip, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You will be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6 minutes, you will be muted, and I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Philip O'Callaghan, the Division M Director candidate. The Division M Director candidate, Philip O'Callaghan. Philip, your first question. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? And I'll repeat that. Perhaps the Division Director role is the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Thank you very much. I suppose when we think about accountability and responsibility for such a role, there is only one answer if we are serious. And I think we should all agree that there should be metrics for any role in life, and particularly for Toastmasters. I do think that the metrics that we need to put in needs to answer, I think, 3 questions in my mind. And they are what, they are how, and they are why. What are we trying to measure? How are we trying to measure it? And why are we trying to measure? I suppose we could be crude in our metrics and look at club growth. We look at membership base, we could look at membership increase. But I suppose as a division director, you also need to look at, are members enjoying it? How are they enjoying it? And what you need to do to ensure that they achieve their full potential. So while you can have the crude data metrics, you also need to look at some other metrics, which is enjoyment, fulfillment, and are the members getting the most out of what they come to Toastmasters for.
Okay, thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you have led. Describe a successful team you have led.
To my mind, a successful team that I have led is a team that leads themselves, a team that is empowered through your direction to achieve the goals that you set forward. So, for example, in a work capacity, I lead a team that delivers for the Prime Minister Taoiseach of Ireland, a team that consists of many policy officers and policy workers working to a programme for government to deliver change in many aspects of Irish life. So that team has a busy schedule, even more busier in the last couple of weeks. So to my mind, over the past few weeks, I've seen the dedication of that team, a team that's willing and wanting to do the work, and a team that knows the objectives, the goals, and the mission that we're trying to achieve, and work together to achieve the missions.
Okay, thank you. Your third question. Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these? Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve these?
Thank you. Let's start off with responsibilities first. Responsibility has to start and has to end with the member who pays their money to join Toastmasters. Is it a service that we are trying to deliver? And that is one that is a responsibility that I hold greatly. The second responsibility is to ensure that the area directors are achieving their best and growing themselves as leaders within the areas. And then that transpires and transcends up to me. The responsibilities are to ensure that we achieve the targets as set out, but more importantly is to ensure that every member grows from the moment they start their journey to the moment they end their journey in Toastmasters. The role as division director is a role that I have done before previously, albeit many years ago, and it's 5 years ago at this stage that I have done the role. And for me, any role in Toastmasters is cyclical. I think it's good that I put myself forward to do this role again 5 years later, because I do believe that you change as a leader and you grow as a leader. And I'm very interested and I am eager to see how I've changed, what extra I can bring to the role 5 years later to Division M.
Okay, Philip, I have a full question for you. What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role? What innovative new approaches will you bring to this role?
Thank you. So I suppose when you think of innovation, you can't but think of the current situation that we find ourselves in. And I do think that over the next year, we will have to do many of our meetings and many of our interactions online. So we need to find innovative ways to be able to expand the Zoom meetings into the Toastmaster environment, and how we make them dynamic and how we make them new, because there is a Zoom fatigue I'm sure all of us are experiencing through this pandemic. So if we don't find innovative ways to make sure our meetings are fun and enjoyable, then I think we run into serious problems with membership, retainment across the area and division if we don't find innovative ways. So I think my main focus, to answer your question, to try and find new ways to make Zoom meetings more enjoyable.
Okay. Now, Philip, do you want a fifth question or do you want to make your closing statement? It's up to you.
I think at this stage I might make my closing statement, given the time is ticking along. I suppose, to my mind, I'm putting myself forward to be Division M Director again, because I believe at this stage of my career in Toastmasters, I can come back once more to offer some further leadership to the role. And I'm excited to take on that role and to make sure that I can give my experience back to new members and experienced members in the time ahead. I hope I've answered the questions with clarity and composure, and I do hope that those listening have taken something from the answers to my questions. So thank you very much for your time and for those attending this evening.
Okay, thank you, Philip. We're just about running out of time, so that's it. Yeah, your allotted time is up. Thank you very much, and if you could turn off your camera, that would be mighty. And our next candidate is Liz Walsh for Division N. Can you unmute yourself, Liz? How are you? Good?
I'm good, thank you. Yes.
Excellent. And come here, can you confirm you have pinned the timer?
I have pinned the timer, yes.
And you can see and hear me okay?
I can, thank you, yes.
Great stuff. Just to let you know, Liz, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. Okay. You will be on the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow card at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6, you will be muted, and I will ask each question twice. Okay? Are you ready to start?
I am, thank you.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Liz Walsh, the Division N Director candidate. The Division N Director candidate, Liz Walsh. Liz, your first question. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat that. Perhaps the Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Thank you, Tom. Yes, thinking of the metrics, I think when we're looking at processes and accountability, as you say, and roles, I think from the Division Director perspective, perhaps to think about where the area directors are, and then in the district with the division in the middle. So I think from taking that responsibility and ensuring that our area directors understand what their roles are and what responsibility they have, and taking perhaps an active role in assisting them with their roles as well. It's all around the communication. It's all around making sure people do know what it is that their jobs are. And although as a division director, it's looking at setting up speech contests, really, whereas we could utilise ourselves a lot more in helping the areas to grow and develop and getting in there and helping them with their roles as setting up speech contests, doing their area visits, perhaps if it's a large area, maybe giving them a hand with that, and being flexible with your own time. And I think sometimes putting metrics as in this can be quite difficult when you need to have the time and the energy to get that flow of people understanding where their responsibility lies. But I think as a division director, it could be utilised a lot more and effectively by perhaps getting out there and being with your directors, and also maybe going to the clubs a little more and helping with their executives and doing educations around their roles and making their understanding what they are as well. So I think in summary, get out there, communicate, get to understand where they are and help where the gaps are, grow the divisions.
Yeah, Okay, Liz, thank you. Your second question. Describe a successful team you have led. Describe a successful team you have led.
Successful team in Toastmasters and in my personal life. So in Toastmasters, just over the recent years, being Vice President Education of a club and President of another, looking with them and leading them and helping them through to get to Distinguished Toastmaster. The first time for both clubs getting 10 points. And that was amazing. And that was just by helping them behind the scenes and getting for example, the VPE when I was president to understand the role and how they can monitor where their members are in a way of being able to say, well, if we get this person through their next tick in the box for a speech, they'll get their level 1. Also looking at the mentoring of the clubs and new members and things like that. So bringing all that together, I think that was a successful year as a president of one club in the same year as I was VP of another, and having both the teams gelling and getting them together to 10 points. In a work life, I've been responsible for various projects and been able to bring teams together in order to achieve end goals for projects, for example, on looking at costing for a particular project I was doing. I had to involve finance managers, service managers, and various staff members and bringing them all together and discussing things. And we got a successful outcome at the end where we streamlined the financial processing and we're actually able, we realised we were charging people a bit too much, so some people got a bit of a windfall. So that was a good outcome for them as well. And the company, because it was non-for-profit, so we shouldn't have been making the money anyway. But yeah, it's been a good journey.
Very good, thank you. And your third question, describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how would you achieve them? Describe your role and responsibilities for this position and how will you achieve them?
So the roles and responsibilities of the division director in order to ensure, I suppose, going back to the matrix of getting the area directors to make sure that they understand where they're at. So the responsibility for the division to get clubs to achieve their goals in order for the division and then for the district as a whole to become stronger and greater. So I think it's all around communication. It's around understanding where we all sit. It's around giving that emphasis on accountability, but being energetic and getting there and being, what's the word I'm thinking of, building up, getting the clubs building up, getting the districts building up, getting the areas on board. And I think it takes a lot of energy and time. And if you've got that commitment, and I really do believe I have that commitment in order to get our areas, clubs stronger, areas stronger, divisions stronger, district Toastmasters. It'll be amazing. I look forward to it if I am elected.
That's great, Liz. Do you want to make a closing statement?
Just to say that I'm extremely honoured to have been nominated as District N Director, and I will do my utmost and best to take you to a high.
Okay, Liz, your time has ran out. Thank you very much. If you can turn the camera off, that was great. Thank you. And our next candidate is Will Freak. Will, if you could put on your, unmute yourself, please.
Good evening.
First of all, Will, am I pronouncing your second name correctly?
You are, yes.
Good man. Okay. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yes.
And can you confirm you have penned the timer?
I will just do that. I have pinned the timer.
Good man, thank you. And well, just to let you know, your allotted time is 6 minutes in total. You'll be shown the green card at 4.5 minutes, the yellow at 5, and the red at 5.5. You should then begin your closing statement if you haven't already done so. At 6, you will be muted, and I will ask each question twice. Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Good stuff. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Will Freak. He is the Division S Director candidate. The Division S Director candidate, Will Freak. Will, your first question. Perhaps Division Director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend? I'll repeat that. Perhaps the division director role is one of the most underutilized positions in the district. What metrics of accountability and responsibility for this position would you recommend?
Well, I think that's a fantastic question, and I do think that there is to a certain extent, a underutilization of the division director role. And in terms of accountability, there's different ways that the role can be measured. And I think ultimately, I mean, there's obviously a system in place by Toastmasters with points and things like that, and that's a very quantitative metric. And I think sometimes people can do very well on paper, but possibly what goes on in the division is, and what people's experience of what's going on in the division is a different thing. I think ultimately you are accountable to the people and the members of Toastmasters in the division. And I think that, well, the best measure of accountability is how much people support you in the role. And I feel that people support me in the role already. I have an assistant program quality person already lined up, and he's going to be an expert in pathways, and he is going to deliver that to the entire division. He's been doing a great job at the moment. He started with the area and he's gone to other areas delivering pathways presentations. In terms of metrics, pathways is a very important one, because obviously they are some resistance to pathways. There's always a bit of resistance to change. And I think that pathways in a metric you can divide up like a solicitor's Toastmaster into three things. I think three groups of people are very important to consider with pathways and how to measure the success of the implementation of pathways. The first group is people who have recently joined Toastmasters, and they don't know any different. So I don't think that they are really somebody to worry about. They have to take up pathways, and that is going to be very natural. The second group of people are possibly people in the middle of their Toastmasters journey. And I think this is a group that we really have to watch. And if there's ever a metric to measure the success of the division, it's how many of these people we can retain and get onto pathways. So the kind of person I'm talking about, maybe they've done 10 speeches, maybe they've done 20 speeches, and they possibly feel a bit disenfranchised because they think, well, hold on, I've got to start at the very beginning. And I think this is a very important measure. How many people of these can be retained in Toastmasters and get them bought into the pathways system, because really they have no choice. The third group of people, which I think is important with pathways, and I personally fall into this category, is people who are at the very end of the traditional system. So I'm a couple of speeches away and a leadership project away from DTM. I was planning to get that before the end of this year, but that's going to be extended for another year. So I think these two groups, the people who are in the middle of their Toastmasters journey and they have to go back to the beginning, get them onto pathways, that's a very good metric. And obviously get the people who are at the end of their Toastmasters journey through to DTM and any other education systems, some of which have to be done by the end of this year, some of which have been extended. And I think that's a very important metric. But also, and I think this is the most important thing of any Toastmasters, is the sense of community. And that's a bit of a qualitative measure. How do you measure community? In Area 60, which I'm currently the director of, we have got a phenomenal sense of community. And people, they don't really just see themselves as a member of their own club. They also see themselves as a member of Area 60. And how does this help? Well, I'll give you an example. One of the clubs went through a bit of a rough patch. A lot of experienced members left. And what was fantastic is that the people from the community sort of came in, because it's very difficult to get experienced members into a club if lots of them leave at once, so we can import them in from the community. And I think if I, as the division director, can expand that sense of community beyond the division into beyond the current area, which I'm the director of, into other areas, and that sense of community, although qualitative, I think would be a fantastic metric. How much support can I get in the other areas? We've already got a fantastic relationship with the upcoming area director in Edinburgh. So that's just a couple of things. So and to sort of close off and segue into the reason why I should be elected as division director, I think I'm the perfect person for the job. As I said, I already have an assistant lined up, and he's very keen to serve, and I think he can be persuaded to possibly take up the division role in a year's time. He's going for the area director role at the moment, so he will be hopefully be able to segue into the division director role at the end of my term. And also, I think, and I really do hope that the contests get back to normal reasonably soon, but have the best contest that we can ever see. So that's the reasons why you should elect me as division director. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're almost out of time. So thanks, Will. That was brilliant. And if you could turn your camera off, that'd be good. Now, I'm just going to check the other room just to make sure that our missing candidate, Paige Skelton for Division G, may have turned up. I'm not too sure. Just checking to see if Paige, if not, we're finished, I think.
Paige was not going to be able to attend the meeting, so the room is now closed and everyone is in the main room.
Great. Okay. Well, in that case, I'll finish the second segment and hand everything back to John Cox for closing. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
I'm assuming that I'm back on.
You are.
Am I back on, Moira?
You are.
Okay, thank you very much. If I could just thank the candidates for what was a showcase marathon this evening. It's been a long evening, and I feel sorry for those that were the last ones on because they've been hanging around a long time. But it's been an excellent evening. I've thoroughly enjoyed sitting here and listening to all of the various interviews and getting a feel for who the candidates are. I'd like to thank Moira and Tom for chairing this evening, and Moira O'Brien for her Zoom mastering, and Dinah from our own Lincolnshire Speakers, one of my clubs, and for being the timekeeper this evening. So thank you very much for taking part. I'm sure you're all keen now to join us in the bar, if only, and hope to see you all tomorrow at the council meeting. Thank you very much, and have an enjoyable rest of the evening.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thanks, Moira. Great job.
Thank you.
Well done, Moira. You did well.
Thank you. So did Tom. It was
Yeah,
a
but you
marathon.
both did well.
Thank you all.
Right, you had to have.
Hopefully I'll be able to speak for the rest of the evening.
Okay,
Thank you all very, very much. It's been a real. I've loved being in your company. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm closing the meeting now. Bye, everybody.
Bye,
See you again
See
tomorrow
you all
morning,
tomorrow.
bright and
Bye.
early.
Well done, Tom.
Everybody.
Well done, Tom. Moira.
Bye.
Oh dear.